So if you were online this weekend, you probably saw some really confusing headlines about Mark Sanchez. One report says he's a stabbing victim, the next says he's been arrested. It's a lot to wrap your head around. So in this explainer, we're going to untangle all of that. We're going to stick strictly to the facts from official reports to figure out what really happened.
And this right here is the core of all the confusion, isn't it? How can someone be both the victim and the person arrested in the very same incident? It just sounds like it doesn't add up. But when you actually dig into the official police reports, you start to see how both of those things can, in fact, be true.
So we're going to break this down into 5 parts. First, what happened during the incident itself. Then, we'll clarify that whole victim versus arrestee role, which is key. After that, we'll cover his current health, how this all impacted his broadcasting job, and finally, what questions the ongoing investigation still needs to answer.
All right, first things first. Let's just establish the basic foundational facts. What do we actually know happened in Indianapolis?
Okay, so according to what police told outlets like ESPN and CNN, there was some kind of altercation between 2 men really early Saturday morning, not far from Lucas Oil Stadium. And police were quick to say this wasn't just a random attack. They believe it was an isolated incident between these 2 guys. In the end, one man had lacerations, while Mark Sanchez sustained injuries that were described as consistent with stab wounds, and he had to be taken to the hospital.
Okay, so this brings us to the part of the story that's tripping everyone up. How is it possible for Mark Sanchez to be both the victim who got stabbed and the person who ended up getting arrested? Let's clear this up right now.
The key here is to see these as 2 sides of the same single event. Yes, Sanchez was the victim of the stabbing. That's what put him in the hospital. But based on their investigation of the entire altercation, police also arrested him for his alleged role in the fight that actually led to that stabbing. In any kind of altercation, police are going to look at the actions of everybody involved. So yeah, it's totally possible for someone to be both injured and also face charges for their own alleged actions.
And these aren't just some vague accusations. The police were very specific here. They arrested Sanchez on 3 preliminary misdemeanor charges: battery with injury, unlawful entry of a motor vehicle, and public intoxication. Now that word preliminary is absolutely crucial here. This just means it's what the police are recommending. The prosecutor's office is the one that gets the final say on whether to actually file these charges formally.
So, with the legal side of things a little clearer, let's turn to what really matters: Sanchez's personal well-being. What do we know about his current health status?
Well, his employer, Fox Sports, they released a statement pretty quickly, and they confirmed he is in the hospital and, most importantly, is in stable condition. They also made sure to thank the medical team and ask for privacy for Mark and his family.
This also helps clarify the timeline a bit. Police have confirmed that because Sanchez is still getting medical care, he hasn't been formally booked into jail yet. It's pretty clear that right now, his recovery is the #1 priority.
Naturally, an incident like this is going to have some immediate professional consequences. So how exactly did this affect his broadcasting duties for the weekend?
Sanchez was in Indianapolis for a reason. He was scheduled to be in the booth calling the Raiders-Colts game for Fox. But obviously because he was in the hospital, he wasn't able to work. So reports confirmed that his colleague, Brady Quinn, had to step in on short notice to cover the broadcast.
And finally, as is the case with pretty much any developing story, there's still a lot we just don't know. The police investigation is very much active and ongoing.
So there are several big questions still hanging out there. We still have no official word on the motive for the fight. The identity and the status of the other man involved haven't been released. We're also still waiting on that final decision from the prosecutor about the charges, and this is a big one. While police have reportedly recovered video footage, what's on that video remains completely unknown to the public for now.
So the real takeaway here is just how important it is to stick to verified facts when a complex story like this breaks. What we know for certain is that Mark Sanchez was both a victim of a stabbing and he was arrested on preliminary charges that came out of that exact same incident. As more official information gets released, the picture is going to get a lot clearer, but for now, sticking to what's confirmed is the only way to really understand the situation.